Oh, they're very unpredictable. West Indies Pakistan game yesterday was absolutely surprising in one aspect. West Indies turning it around from the other game where they lost against Ireland, and Pakistan were just poor, extremely poor. Pakistan in the background have got a lot of issues with their team harmony. I think when they're having arguments with their fielding coach, and it showed yesterday that they shouldn't be having arguments with their fielding coach. It cost them against the West Indies. They dropped too many easy catches and they let the West Indies off the hook. So Pakistan have got a lot to answer for. That's the problem. They get these coaches in. They don't want to listen. They want to do it their own way, there's no shortcuts in this tournament. So if you want to be lazy on the training track, it's going to show up out in the middle, and that's what happened yesterday. And it's the same with the West Indies as well. You can tell when they're taking it too easy, and they did that against Ireland. But yesterday they came back and gave the world a great show of what they were capable of. And it's going to be disappointing that they've lost Bravo. I think his stability in that middle order, coming in at number 3. They're going to have to find someone to fill that gap. But the West Indies have got the potential to knock a few teams off and really cause some upsets through that quarter final if they get there. So in that Group B, you've got West Indies, Pakistan, who are on the back foot, where Zimbabwe and Ireland could probably both sneak through to the quarter finals if they both teams don't switch on. I think it's it's going to be interesting to see some of these associate teams. It's disappointing that Bangladesh didn't play against Australia last night against Brisbane with the rain, but I think it's a mixture of the associate teams improving. They're getting better quality. Afghanistan, so enthusiastic, they train hard, they're doing the right things. Zimbabwe are very similar. Ireland want to do well. They don't want to be embarrassed in this particular tournament. They want to show the world that they have the right to become test standards. So I think it's a bit of both. That some of the major teams aren't doing the right things. They're taking it a bit too easy. They're taking too many shortcuts. I think that's probably the issue. Is these major teams are taking the shortcuts, and the associate teams are working a lot harder, and that's why the gap is becoming slightly closer. But I watched the game yesterday against Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and that was a great spectacle. So the associate teams and the lower ranked teams can really put on a great spectacle of cricket, which is great. No, it's definitely not going to hurt them. Once you get into that quarterfinals, you're playing against the big teams, and that's where you've got to be on your game, and that's where you've got to be at your best. So I think it doesn't matter who you're playing in those quarterfinals. You've got to beat those teams. So if you don't beat the best teams on the day, you don't deserve it out the end. So I don't think that point's going to really hurt Australia. I think it's going to benefit Bangladesh, especially with the game coming up against England. England are an absolute rort at the present moment. They've been disappointing in the tournament. I think that they won't. And I've said it before, I don't think they will get to the quarterfinals. So it's a little bit disappointing. And the thing that I'm really concerned with England is they're trying to have a stabilised team, but they don't. They had Bo Burrow batting at 6 during the Australian series, but then they brought in Balance. Balance is not good enough at number 3 at the present moment in this tournament. So do they go with Alex Hales and bring Taylor back up to 3? Taylor was batting beautifully at 3, but the other disappointing thing was Morgan wanting to play IPL and not captaining his one-day team when there's an international fixture on. I just don't agree with that. If you're going to captain your country, you've got to captain your team at every opportunity. And if that means missing an IPL fixture, well, so be it. I don't think that's a huge issue. I think that one thing that Australia are really good is that they're a strong unit. They their roles within the team, and George Bailey's role at the moment is to captain the team when Michael Clark's not there, and he knows that his performances haven't been good enough to warrant a spot in the particular team, and he knew that he was going to miss this particular fixture. So although it's upsetting with George Bailey, he's such a great bloke, he's such a great character, that's why he's wandered around the Australian change rooms, and I just think it's good with the harmony between the teams. That are able to see when they miss their opportunity that someone else is coming in for a certain role, and that's why Australia have been so strong over the last 15-20 years, is because we all understand our role, and if someone's performing better, we congratulate that particular player for getting his position, but we know ourselves that we've got to, if we've been dropped or a player's been dropped, he's got to go back and make sure he performs to make sure that the player that's got his spot is feeling the pressure, and that's why I've been very strong. And I think we're in for an exciting round of fixtures this in the next couple of days. We've got South Africa versus India today. That's going to show where those two teams are. I think both teams are evenly matched. I just think both teams' batting depth is going to be the difference. So they're both similar weights, but it's going to show where each team is in this particular World Cup. So whoever wins today, I think will be a chance of winning the World Cup against New Zealand and Australia at the end. New Zealand, Australia. How good are New Zealand? If they can beat Australia, well, they're going to be the number one favourites after that particular fixture. And West Zimbabwe, watch that one, because if Zimbabwe win that, anything can happen in Group B. So get on the telly and watch some exciting cricket over the next couple of days.